I don't do product reviews, but this one is kind of interesting. This is a ultra quiet air compressor from Harbor Freight. Now, a friend of mine, Tom, electrical engineer, was telling me about these years ago and said they're pretty neat. There was a sale. I picked one up. This is the 1 gallon because it was the one that they had in stock. They didn't have the 2 gallon, but they claim that it's 57 decibels while it's running, which is quiet. And the intention for this is to use it to top off the car tires on the carport or in the garage, where frequently there are cats. Now, I have air compressors. I have a substantial, 20 gallon Craftsman from 20 years ago that when you turn it on, the whole neighborhood knows that it's running. So I thought I would check one of these out. And to verify, I brought out an old piece of hardware, one of my favorites. This is a realistic sound level meter. Well, this isn't the analog, this is the digital version of it. And I found this the other day accidentally. So I've got that on 80 decibels. And if I'm talking, and we can see that it says low, la 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 la. Turn it down to 70, and I'll talk into it, and we can see that it is registering. There we go, registering the volume coming from my mouth as I talk. Now this thing claims to be 57 decibels while it's running, so I'm going to have to turn it all the way down to 60, and then I'm going to hit the max button, and I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to hit reset, but I'm going to attempt to talk over the top of it. Now, I think you should measure this about 3 feet away or a meter away or something like that. And I'm going to put it right next to it, just because this thing is stupid quiet. So I'm going to hit reset. Now, I will say that the table is vibrating considerably, so I think part of that is the table vibrating, which is hilarious. So I'm going to muffle. I'm going to see if I can isolate this a little bit better from the table, and we'll run that test again. I found one of the problems. Missing a foot. With this, I also purchased separately on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below. These are isolation pads for air compressors. It's rubber with some cork in the middle, layered together, and it's intended to isolate the air compressor vibrations from the wood surfaces, the floor, whatever it's in. I was actually thinking about this is small enough that I could put into a cabinet on the carport, or if I'm brave enough, bolt it to the wall or in the ceiling with a pull down cord for doing the air. So I'm back at 70 decibels. I've got the isolation pads in here. Let's see what this does. Okay, still registering about 71, which I can still live with. Okay, so I've moved it to the floor. I'm not going to move the camera around. Still showing about 68 with the isolation pads, but it's quiet. I can talk over the top of it, so not horrible. I don't think it'll scare the cats, which is the intention. Not quite 57 decibels. If I were 20 feet away or 10 feet away, that might work. But as you can see when I talk, I'm still considerably louder. So the shutoff there was 80 decibels. And this thing has been sitting in a box collecting dust for 10 or so years. And I do see that it has a calibration slot. I've missed this. So, I haven't tested it under heavy load. It's intended to inflate tires on car and not to scare the cats when it cycles on. I'll mount it, like I said, in the carport, on the carport, in a cabinet on the carport, in a cabinet in the garage, one over the other, and then plummet to a retractable reel. Hey, there we go. I think I almost got it closed. Plummet to a retractable reel so that we can air up the tires, readily accessible, and not have to roll up the. Already have the reel, don't have the garage to put it in. Would I recommend this? I think it's worth consideration. They have several models and they go up in decibels. I think it goes from like 54 to 57 to 61 to 63 decibels, something along those lines. I think that's a moot point. The nitty gritty of how quiet the thing is, just know that they are quiet. I thought I could put it back on the table. So when considering an air compressor, make sure that it will do the job that you are looking for it to do. Let me turn it around. This is the front. This is a noticeably small compressor. Like I said, this is a 1 gallon tank. This compressor looks like it might have come from one of the portable ones that you would keep in your car. And it sounds about like it too. I mean, because it's nice and quiet. Would this work to run a nail gun for framing? No. Would this work to run a staple gun for furniture upholstery? Probably so. Would this work for a airbrush? That's what I was looking for, airbrush. I don't know the requirements for an airbrush, but this is quiet. You could keep it under a desk or a table or counter and it could come on and off and it would be relatively quiet. But they do make larger ones, and as the size goes up, the compressor itself changes a little bit. They do get a little beefier so that you can quickly fill up tank. Now this only goes up to a max of 135 psi. This is set on like 125 both ways, and it's a half horse. I keep looking for an AC to DC converter in there, and that may be it in there, to take the AC going in and convert it to DC to run something that would be portable in your car. This does have large rubber isolators here underneath the compressor, between the compressor and the frame, so that does absorb some of the sound or vibrations, which then cause sound. And then the large feet. So I think the whole thing as a package is not bad, and it's not heavy. It has a nice handle. It's got little hooks for you to wrap the cord around. I'm probably not going to ever use that. Anyway, I thought this was neat. It's a quiet air compressor that won't scare the cats off. Actually, I plugged it up on the carport and turned it on, and the cats would walk around it because they didn't find it a threat or too aggravating a noise, unlike the leaf blowers in the neighborhood or thunder. Anyway, quiet air compressor from Harbor Freight. Check them out. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
Too many hobbies, not enough time.
It's a theme song, y'all.